What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. Appreciate you making this part of your start. If you're already up and at it, whether you're listening to us on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online at sportstalk1051.com. You got your app. Download that, take it on the go. Video streams also up and rolling. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. However you're tuning in, we appreciate that, and we appreciate you making us again part of your start on this July 15th morning. What do we got on our good old game plan for us today? Well, all-star festivities in Major League Baseball officially began last night with the home run derby. Cal Raleigh getting the crown. The dude who the big dumpster, dude who's leading the league in home runs so far this season comes away with the home run derby championship. So we have the All-Star game tonight for Major League Baseball. So what sounds like too, we'll get to see Jacob Mizorowski fairly early, according to Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts and some of the players talk a little bit about Mizorowski and such, because let's face it, Mizorowski has, well, his selection has come under some scrutiny. A lot of Phillies players standing up to, or I should say, speaking out in favor of some of their players, and that should be on there and such. But Mizorowski speaking yesterday, saying, "quote They're not upset with me." Uh, he said that he was surprised as anyone to find himself at the All Star game. "Quote The last 5 weeks have been insane. I thought the All Star break would be a chance to sit down and reflect, and now we are here." For example, Trey Turner was outspoken in his criticism to Ed Mizorowski, um, saying what a joke it was. Kyle Schwarber also on Monday saying that the attempt by the Phillies players to speak up for Sanchez and Suarez, quote, was not an attack on Mizorowski by any means. It's an honor for him that he's here, and it should be an honor for him. It's not his fault that he's only pitched 5 games and he got named. He said that Mizorowski could be an all-star every year that he pitches. It's just more of the fact that our guys were having some really good years and some pretty good everyday starts and numbers. You want them to feel like they're going to be represented the way that they should be. So, but yeah, Dave Roberts said including Mizorowski on his team was, quote, an easy answer. If it brings excitement, attention to our game, then I'm all about it. I think for me, kind of my North Star is the All Star game should be the game's best players. It's about the fans and what fans want to see. But he did say that he plans to bring in Mizorowski into the game as early as the 5th inning, and it's going to be electric. So the fans, the media, you are going to love it. So there you have it. We'll maybe see Trevor McGill at some point tonight too. Also, remember, we won't see Freddie Peralta pitch because he did get the start on Sunday for the Brewers. So, if you want to make some picks for the All-Star game, let me know. All right, hit me up with the text with the American League, with the National League. Who you got? Who you gonna roll with for today? So you can let me know and hit me up with those talks. So we'll talk a little bit about the All-Star game heading into tonight. You had other players. It seems like too they're kind of excited just to see Mizorowski in action. Robbie Ray said he has an electric arm. He's a special talent, and I'm excited to watch. Brian Snitker, who's on the staff manager for the Braves, said, "You know what? It's an exhibition game. He's another great talent. There are some guys that are very deserving. It is what it is." So, but yeah, I mean, I think Mizorowski's got to go in with, and I think he's got the right mindset. Players aren't upset with him. Just go out there and have fun. Enjoy the moment, dude. Enjoy the moment. So We'll talk a little baseball leading into the Midsummer Classic for tonight. We're also going to talk a little football. A couple things here I want to get to. So first off, we'll do our training camp position preview, not position preview series. Our training camp storyline countdown series. I want to talk about the quarterbacks here: Jordan Love, Malik Willis, and such. But so with that, ESPN has been doing their countdown for position players where they've talked to executives, coaches, and scouts, rank the NFL's top 10 in certain positions. And yesterday, the quarterbacks dropped. Number 1 was Patrick Mahomes. Number 2 was Josh Allen. Number 3 was Joe Burrow. Number 4 was Lamar Jackson. So probably not too big of a surprises or anything like that. Number 5 already, Jaden Daniels. Matthew Stafford coming in at number 6, Justin Herbert at 7, Jared Goff at 8, Jalen Hurts at 9, Baker Mayfield at 10. Honorable mention, CJ Stroud, and then Jordan Love. What they little write-up about Love was Love appeared ready for top 10 status by the end of 2023. He was blanking outstanding, an NFL personnel evaluator said about the stretch. Play action on time, big arm, confidence. That shifted slightly in 2024 due to the week 1 knee injury that cost him 2 games. It looked like it took him time to work through managing that injury, the evaluator said. Another full off season with LaFleur and more receiving options, and he will be fine. So what do you make of, let's call it what it is, essentially the 12th. They ranked him 12th. Do you think he should be higher? Do you think he should be in the top 10? Who would you take out of the top 10 to put Jordan Love in there? Or do you think it's right and that, hey, if he stays healthy this year and plays up to his ability, they'll take care of itself? Would you put him behind Jared Goff? Would you put him behind Baker Mayfield? Ahead? Do you think they got it right? What do you think? Let me know. All right. We'll talk a little bit about that and the rankings and such, and talk a little bit about this quarterback room as we enter preseason training camp. First practice again next Wednesday. Quarterbacks and rookies, though, do report at the end of the week. So, and another thing I want to kind of hit up, I'm going to phrase it this way. I'm going to ask this question, and I'll explain why. How would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? How would you describe him? How would you kind of, describe how his play style or just as a player overall? Maybe just keep it as simple as that. And the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm not a believer in this thing. I mean, I thought it was cool when they first started doing this. Now it's just kind of meh. And I think you kind of tell that even it's lost a lot of its luster because it used to be like a prime time at night, revealing once a week or a couple times a week. And now, the NFL Network does their top 100 players as voted on by the players and just kind of randomly drops during the day now. Well, yesterday, Rashan Gary came in at number 80. And the year before, he was number 50. But still, top 100, number 80 on the list. Like, oh, okay. Again, it's a name thing mostly, in my opinion. But then you started to see some of the stats kind of come out about Rashan Gary. The 33rd team posted pass rushers with a higher pressure rate than Rashan Gary since he entered the league. There's only been 4. Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett. So that's a minimum of 1,000 snaps as a pass rusher since 2019. You're talking about Rashan Gary, top 5 in pressure rate since 2019. NFL Plus, via Next Gen Stats, also posted this. Rashan Gary generated pressure on 23.5% of his pass rushes on third down last season, making that the 6th highest among defenders. However, he managed to generate pressure on just 7.8% of his pass rushes on early downs. So, again, what does that stat tells us? He puts a lot of pressure on maybe some obvious pass rushing situations, not so much on the early downs. Maybe focusing on the run a little bit more and stopping the run. But you see these numbers, you see these pass rushing pressure rates, and they're pretty darn good. But then you look at sack numbers, and no double digit sacks. Remember Mike Smith? He was the outside linebackers coach with Mike Pettin in Green Bay, and he was a big advocate. I don't know if he's still with Minnesota right now or not, but he was a big advocate about pressure rates and sacks not telling the whole story, and talks about pressure rates, pressure percentage. So you see these, and we've talked about the pass rush quite a bit this offseason and last year, and the need to improve. So these are good numbers for Rashan Gary. But then you look at sacks, and it's like, but do those pressures lead to sacks? Because the other guys with the Myles Garretts and the Trey Hendricksons and the Micah Parsons, okay, similar pressure rates than Rashan Gary. But the one thing that is completely different amongst those guys is sacks, the number of sacks. So I've gone back and forth on this in my head, and I'm like, okay, how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? Give me your scouting report on him. And do we undervalue him a little bit? Just right? What are your thoughts? And try to come from it as like you're putting your scouting cap on this thing. How would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? I know we've already touched on defensive line and such for our training camp storyline countdown such, but I thought these were some interesting numbers when it came out yesterday. And I'm like, is it kind of an intriguing player, difficult player to forecast or try to figure out at times. Maybe it's consistency or inconsistency, but like, how would you describe it? So I'm curious to hear from you. There's no right or wrong answer in this thing. So hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Or you can also comment on the video streams if you like, or hit me up on the socials. It is Tuesday, so what's grinding your gears? It's a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. All right, make it appropriate and send them on over, and we'll read them off on the air. All right, so what's grinding your gears? Coming up at about a little past 8. We'll catch up with the Eau Claire Express. GMCM will be joining us. The Express now on their All-Star break. They'll be back in action on Friday when they're visiting Waterloo. So we'll talk a little Eau Claire Express. Also, after that, then we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal, or Badger analyst down in Madison. Badger basketball. They've got a new GM. Yeah, see, this is the wave of college sports now, the big time sports, football and basketball teams hiring general managers. So, basketball program, the men's basketball program now have a general manager. So, we'll talk a little bit about that with RJ Cardinal coming up 8:30, 8:25, 8:30 this morning. So, let's get things going though. Pitter patter, let's get at her, shall we? We'll let you lead the conversation. We'll talk a little Brewers with Mizorowski after he chatted a little bit with media, and we'll tell you some more comments and quotes from some of the All-Stars about Mizorowski making the All-Star game. We'll talk a little green and gold. Do you think Jordan Love right now is a top 10 quarterback? Would you have put him in that top 10? And if so, who would you have taken out? Would it be Goff? I think Jane Daniels is already a top 5 quarterback in the league. What do you got? And then describe Rashan Gary as a player. Give me the scouting report on him. How would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? And do we undervalue him at all? All right, I want to hear from you. We'll take our first break and then the lead off to get going here on this Tuesday morning. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Happy 715 day, everybody. With it being July 15th, it is 715 day, and you can join our station's Midwest family today, tonight, starting at 5 p.m. at the Brewing Project for 715 Day for food trucks, local vendors, prizes, and more. 20% of sales of their 715 Shandy will go to local animal shelters. So come grab a drink and support the furry friends in need while celebrating the 715. So shout out to sponsors, Courtesy Auto and Truck in Stanley, Wisconsin, Pablo Center, Visit Eau Claire, Dixon's Autumn Harvest Winery, Blue Marble Pub, Auto Family Law, Savita, the Blue Hills Vineyard and Wines, Blue Gold Athletics, Timber Technologies, Ho Chunk Gaming in Black River Falls, Walsworth, Donald's RVing, 715 Excavating and Demolition, ATS Complete Auto Repair, Peak Wellness with Lisa, Mike Star Market, our good friends Mike Star Market, Goss Appliance, uh, Anders Supply and Landscaping, and Blair Online Auctions. So again, that's today, 715 Day tonight at the Brewing Project, starting at 5 p.m. Food trucks, local vendors, prizes, all that good stuff. And again, reminder, 20% of the sales for the 715 Shandy will go to local charities to help our furry friends out there, local animal shelters. So let's talk a little baseball, shall we? We got the All-Star game tonight. First off, we got a quick text from C-Bomb here. Whenever we got to talk Green Bay, you know you're going to get a message from C-Bomb over there. Jordan Love being at 12 after last season is about right, in my opinion. It doesn't help that he had the most drops in the league. It doesn't mean he didn't play well. It is what it is. If he has a big year, it will play itself out. I do think he had a better season than CJ Stroud, though. As far as 52, it is what it is. He's a solid pass rusher. He's not the best in the league, but he's in the top third. Having a really high pressure rate is great. If he could get home on more of those pressures, that would elevate him as a top tier defensive end. So I'm asking, how do you describe Rashan Gary? If you're just tuning in right now. So Rashan Gary, again, I'm not a believer in this thing, but it sparked a conversation, at least in my opinion. So yesterday, top 100 poll on NFL.com as voted on by the players. I always got to say that, as voted on by the players. I do think it's a little popularity thing. But he was voted number 80. Last year he was 50. He's 80 now. And it came, with that, you got these advanced analytics, stat sites kind of showing how good Rashan Gary's pressure rate is. I mean, you're talking top 5, top 6. But the difference is the sack numbers. And he's top 6 in third down pass rushing rate. He's top 5 in pressure rate since coming into the league in 2019. But you look at the sack numbers, and it's just they're not there with the other guys. So how would you describe Rashan Gary? How, if you put your scouting cap on? And I would agree with the notion, pressure rate, great. You're getting after the quarterback, you're disrupting the pocket and such. But you got to close. Right? I mean, that's the difference. When we talk about, if I bring up this statistic again about Rashan Gary, the 33rd team posted pass rushers with a higher pressure rate than Rashan Gary since he entered the league. Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, Trey Hendrickson, and Myles Garrett. There's one big difference in a lot of those. And it's sacks. And it's guys essentially closing the deal, bringing the quarterback down. So while it's great to have those numbers, you got to close. You got to get after them. So it's kind of maybe a little bit of a perplexing thing. And I do, and so I would agree with the notion it's got to close and get those sack numbers. I also think what's part of this conversation is dude's got a decent sized contract. Okay, he's getting paid as a top 10 edge rusher, defensive end, pass rusher. He's getting paid to be that. And when we talk about the top defensive ends or pass rushers in this league, the first thing that we just kind of generally look at, numbers-wise, stat-wise, is going to be sacks. So Do you feel like he is a if we just use the pay scale, and again, I'm to me, that isn't the be all tell all because it's all about what your value is at that point in time. We see it all the time with quarterbacks. All the time with quarterbacks. The highest quarterback, they're the highest paid quarterback isn't necessarily who we think is probably the best quarterback, but it's all about what your market value is at that time. But if we use contracts as a ranker, if you will, do you think he's a top 10 pass rusher? Because I think that is part of it where maybe we have such a how do I want to say this? A harder view of him or a more difficult assessment of Gary because he is getting paid handsomely to get after the quarterback because he does have a big contract that the sack numbers aren't there either. The stats of pressure rates and such are there, but the number that we as fans tend to pay attention to the most, those sack numbers, the sexy numbers, they're not there. So I think it's part of like the fact that he gets paid a lot of money and is a top 10, top 10-ish paid pass rusher. That factors into why maybe we kind of question the play at times too. I don't think there's any debate. The guy brings a lot of energy and a big time motor, and the effort's there too. The other part though too is, and this is one of my frustrations, and I don't know if it's strictly Rashan Gary or maybe team kind of thing, a philosophy. That's the word I was trying to go at. But snap counts. How many times last year did we talk about snap counts, especially on the defensive end? And the one thing that, and I get it, teams want to do a rotation and try to keep guys healthy or fresh and all that sort of stuff. I understand that. I get that. Okay. But when I look at other other guys and compare their snap counts to Rashan Gary, I'm just like, I think I want a little more. I want a little bit. I want a little more. I mean, these were Rashan Gary's snap counts last year. Okay, these were Rashan Gary snap counts from last year. We'll just do percentages. Okay, starting week 1, 64%, 66%, 69%, 66%, 63, 66, 59, 63, 63, 64, 53, 61, 51, 49, 43, 51, 45. Kind of trailed off there at the end a little bit. I mean, so he never hit 70%. So let's go to okay, let's do Trey Hendrickson. All right. Oh, let's just compare it to Trey. I don't know what it is. I'm bringing it up right now to see where it's at. I want the defense, not the offense. Okay, so Trey Hendrickson. Are they going to give me percentages on this thing? I want percentages. Let's go. Here we go. All right, so Trey Hendrickson. 75, 72, 64, 51, 60, 59, 70, 62, 74, 86, 85, 72, 82, 83, 79, 82, 82. Actually increased it a little bit more towards the end of the season. All right. A little bit higher. Who's another one we want to look at here? Should we do Myles Garrett? Let's do Myles Garrett. Let's throw him on here. Myles Garrett, 76, 68, 59, 75, 78, 79, 80, 83, 77, 75, 77, 71, 75, 81, 80, 87, 80. So, I mean, he's averaging 76.5% of the defensive snaps. And I get it. I'll be honest, there might be a game where he left a little early injury-wise, that sort of stuff. But I mean, Green Bay and Rashan Gary here. I mean, you look at it, Rashan Gary then on average was where is he at here? 58.7. 58.7% of the team snaps. That's where I wanna see more from him, especially if he's a top 10 defensive end being paid as a top 10 defensive end. I wanna see him on the field more. That's what I wanna see. Uh What I'm trying to okay, C-Bomb talk to text. Most sacks since 2020, Gary is at 24, still behind Aaron Donald, who didn't play last year. Okay, I get you now. Uh, most sacks since 2020, Gary is at 24, still behind Aaron Donald, who didn't play last year, and is a defensive tackle. So if we're talking contract, is Gary living up to it? I would say no. So I think he's got the traits, and obviously he's shown us some good things, but it just hasn't all kind of come together. He's a perplexing type of player at this point, and that's where I look at this year as, okay, can we see it all come together? Can we see those pressure rates match up to sack numbers and such? Can Are we gonna see that at all this year? I don't know. We'll find out, but all right. We'll get back to more football talk coming up here in just a little bit. I do want to get I meant to talk some Brewers to lead it off with the All-Star game and such. And obviously one of the biggest hot topics out there has been the whole Mizorowski making the All-Star game, whether you believe he should have or not. And yes, I know that, there was a report out there that um, a lot of pitchers turned down Major League Baseball to go to the game. I think Bob Nightingale said 12 or something like that, or they just start wise, they wouldn't have been able to, or something like that. But there were still some out there that others believed were more worthy to be in the All Star game. Whatever side you're on, at this point, it really doesn't matter. But Mizorowski did speak to the media yesterday. And as he said, too, that he wasn't offended by the criticism over his selection, saying that they're not upset with me, they being the players. He said he was as surprised as anyone to find himself in Atlanta for Tuesday. Quote, the last 5 weeks have been insane. I thought the All-Star break would be a chance to sit down and reflect. And now we are here. Some of the criticism has mostly come from the Phillies. Trey Turner was one of those who was outspoken about the Mizorowski selection. He said, or kind of noted that Christopher Sanchez, who was 8-2 with a 2.50 ERA, didn't make the team. The Phillies also lobbied for Ranger Suarez, who's 7-3 with a 1.94 ERA. Trey Turner called it a joke. What a joke. Kyle Schwarber yesterday talked to the media and said that the attempt by Phillies players to speak up for Sanchez and Suarez, quote, was not an attack at Mizorowski by any means. It's an honor for him that he's here, and it should be an honor for him. It's not his fault that he's only pitched 5 games and he got named. He went on to say that Mizorowski, every year that he pitches, could be an all-star every year that he pitches. It's just more the fact that our guys were having some really good years and some pretty good everyday starts and numbers. You want them to feel like they're going to get represented the way that they should be. He said that Schwarber said he planned on talking to Mizorowski during the All-Star week and would tell him, quote, he's doing a great job at what he's doing, and he's going to be a perennial all-star for years to come. Dave Roberts. So if you're planning on, with an all-star game, watching it. By the way, are you guys going to be watching the all-star game? We put up a poll last night for our post-glass and mirror 715 Speaks poll question for the home run derby. Does anybody watch the home run derby anymore? And 59% of you said no. So are you watching the all-star game tonight? Or if you just like, man, I wish I knew when the Brewers were going to play so I could watch that. Probably by the 5th inning, you're gonna see Mizorowski because Dave Roberts, yesterday saying that, he plans to bring Mizorowski into the game as early as the 5th inning and, quote, "It's going to be electric, so the fans, the media, you're going to love it." Remember, Roberts had a front row seat to that not too long ago with that Mizorowski and Kershaw start. Roberts also said that, having Mizorowski on his team was, quote, "an easy answer. If it brings excitement, attention to our game, then I'm all about it." I think for me, kind of my North Star is the All-Star game should be the game's best players. It's about the fans and who the fans want to see. And honestly, I think that's kind of where it kind of ends. You can say the 5 games in, is that enough to be an all-star? Should he be in there? But essentially at the end of the day, it's a fans game and he's a very popular player right now and it was a business decision. It straight up was a business decision. Let's get the guy that's got some of the most attention, if not the most attention right now, and get him out there on the world stage, the national stage, so others could see him in action. I mean, you got other players talking about excited to watch him pitch. Robbie Ray said he's got an electric arm. He's a special talent, and I'm excited to watch him pitch. Clayton Kershaw, who went up against him, he was asked about Mizorowski making the All-Star game, and he said, "I don't think it's conflicting. I think everybody wants the best players here." And right now, maybe he will develop into one of the best players in the entire league on a consistent basis. We're just 5 games into this thing. But straight up, again, it's a business decision. It's about the attention. You want more eyes on your All-Star game. You want more people talking about your All-Star game. The best thing that will happen for Major League Baseball tonight is that Mizorowski goes in there, tops over 100 miles an hour a few times, and strikes out the side and showcases his electric arm. If he goes out there and gets shelled, even though it's an all-star game, you probably will have a lot of those naysayers come back out and say, this is why he shouldn't have been there, even if it's just an all-star game. I'm not going to get too wound up about it. I'm not. I'm going to take it as a win as a Brewers fan that, hey, we got another one of our dudes on the all-star team. Well, we're getting one of our young stars a little bit more national attention, something that a lot of Brewers fans have complained about over the years that they don't get enough attention. I'm going to take this. If I had the power to put a guy on an all-star team, would I have put him on there? Probably not. And I know they went through a bunch. Now, whether Suarez or Sanchez were asked before Mizorowski and that, I don't know. But just based off qualifications and numbers wise, I probably wouldn't have. But if I wanted to make this a game all about the attention and and getting all the excitement and putting some of the younger players that potentially could be the game's best at a later point, just get them a little bit more. I mean, I get it. I understand why he was put on this roster. I understand that. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. We'll wrap up the first hour. Another question we threw out there that we'll get to in the next hour is Jordan Love right now a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? Some evaluators don't think so. 2 weeks from this Friday, the 5th annual Casper Classic, and we've only got 2 more teams left, 2 more spots left for that 1 p.m. tee time. So let's sell it out for the 5th year, peeps. Head on over to sportstalk1051.com to get your 2-person team signed up. Was over at Halley Golf yesterday, going over some of the finer details and such. So we're ready to rock and roll. A big thanks to Lake Halley Golf for hosting us this year. Park Ridge Distributing, Edward Jones, Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nikolai, Carpet City Flooring Center, VFW Post 305, Myron Construction, Dodge Inn, AJM Automotive Services, Hy-Vee and Eau Claire, Economy Furniture, Muldoon's Menswear, Home Oasis, Service Master Chippewa Valley, Trillium Spinal Care. Also thanks to these wonderful places for donating raffle prizes. We've got Chippewa River Industries, awards and more, Spectrum Industries, Economy Furniture, Brandon's mom and Rocky, Myron Construction. We got a few other ones coming down the line here too. So a big thanks to everybody who is dropping off some prizes for the raffle, because that's where we make a lot of our funds for Backyard Dreams. So big thanks everybody who has signed up. Who has signed up to play. Our sponsors, if you'd like to help out, be a whole sponsor. That does include a team. So if you want to sponsor and get one of those final 2 spots in, you can do so. Or if you just want to help out and donate a raffle prize, we definitely would appreciate that. So again, the big thanks to everybody who has helped support that. But we only got 2 more spots left, so let's make it a 5th year in a row that we can sell this thing out. Again, head to sportstalk1051.com to get your 2-person team signed up. Just saw this. I missed this yesterday, but it looks like Greg Rosenthal, so NFL.com. Dude knows his football and such, but you're seeing this quite a bit. And I think Brandon and I are going to do this on Friday, actually. I'm going to do the Packers quarter century team. So in the last 25 years, the all-time Packers team in the last 25 years. He's going to do the Brewers. So that's his wheelhouse. I'll do Green Bay. So that's coming up Friday. But looks like NFL Daily podcast over there did the top 25 players in the last 25 years. I don't think there's any debate on number 1. It was Tom Brady. Okay, that's not a debate. Patrick Mahomes at 2. Peyton Manning 3, Aaron Donald 4, J.J. Watt 5, Aaron Rodgers 6, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Randy Moss, Darrelle Revis round out the top 10. Rob Gronkowski, Joe Thomas, Calvin Johnson, Luke Kuechly, LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees, Adrian Peterson, Julius Peppers, Zach Martin, Myles Garrett. That's 11 through 20. Lamar Jackson, Walter Jones, T.J. Watt, Terrell Owens, and Travis Kelce round out the top, the next few to round out the top 25. What do you make of that? Should Aaron Rodgers be higher, Packers fans? Is he just right? Is Patrick Mahomes the already number 2 in the last 25 years? What would you change? Again, I don't think there's any debate about number 1. I mean, you just look at the numbers and you look at championships. As painful as it may be for some people to admit it and such, but there really is probably no debate. But is Aaron Rodgers, according to this list, the best Packers player in the last 25 years? It intersects with Favre. Now, Favre did play, would it be 7 seasons with the Packers? So, I mean, the Super Bowl obviously at the back end of the 90s. So he definitely, technically doesn't qualify for this. So I think probably the easy answer would be Aaron. But, I'll say this. I know Julius Peppers technically was a Packer for a couple of years. One name on this list that I'm a little surprised isn't on there. And again, it's one of those like, okay, so who would you take out? Seawood. Where's Charles Woodson? Where's Chuck? I think Charles Woodson would have at least something to say about potentially being on this list. I mean, he kind of I know he started in the late 90s, rookie, same year as Peyton in that, but really, solidified his Hall of Fame status, I would argue, during his time in Green Bay. Defensive Player of the Year award winner in Green Bay, Super Bowl champion in Green Bay. So if there was another player, if we said, yes, Aaron Rodgers, definitely, who would you make the argument for being the next Packer, for being the best Packer in the last 25 years? Okay, take Aaron Rodgers off the list. And let's not count Favre. I'm sorry, but let's not count Favre. So take Favre and take Rodgers off. Who would be the next best Packer in the last quarter of a century, the last 25 years? I think I'm going Seawood. I'd go Charles. Kind of going through the list here a little bit. I mean, and really, I'm not counting players either that may have, dabbled a couple years into the early 2000s. I'm talking about like a majority, the prime years were from 2000 to 2025. Okay, I don't want to get into a whole, well, you played up until 2000. Okay, but were they good? Were they solid? You know what I mean? So you throw Devontae in there. You could throw Double D, Donald Driver in there too, probably. Clay. Going through some of the other dudes in here. Aaron Jones. And I know these are a little bit more recent. I'm trying to get to the early 2000s. You throw a little Amon Green in there, you have to, right? I mean, you got to throw Amon Green in there for crying out loud. So, but yeah, I think number one for me would probably be Charles Woodson. I'd throw, Tremont Williams. Okay, now we got going here. Let's come up with a list. Who you got? All right. So you can hit me up with the text if you want, or comment on the video streams. Outside of Rodgers, and don't count Favre, the best Packers player, and again, they've had to at least had, bulk of their career or their prime was in the 2000s. Best Packers player in the last 25 years, from 2000 to 2025, that's not named Rodgers or Favre. Who would you go with? I'm going to go with Woodson. I'm going to go with the Hall of Famer, Charles Woodson. So we'll get some more picks, and you can name a few too. I know I just gave you probably about 10 different names. So coming up next hour, we'll continue our Packers training camp storyline series. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks here, in part because, again, in part of ESPN's series, they've polled executives, scouts, personnel people across the NFL, and they came up with their top 10 quarterbacks yesterday. They've been doing different position groups, but obviously quarterbacks are the ones that get the attention. Patrick Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2, Joe Burrow 3, Lamar Jackson 4, Jaden Daniels 5, Matthew Stafford 6, Justin Herbert 7, Jared Goff 8, Jalen Hurts 9, Baker Mayfield 10. Honorable mentions were C.J. Stroud and then Jordan Love. So essentially Jordan Love probably coming in at 12. Others receiving votes, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, and Bo Nix. Is Jordan Love, in your opinion, a top 10 quarterback? Or do you think they got it just about right? Just about right. What do you think? We'll hit that up as part of our training camp storyline preview series. It is a Toys and Four to Grind My Gears Tuesday. So what the heck is grinding your gears? You can let us know by getting it off your chest and hitting us up again with a text or commenting on the video streams or hitting us up on the socials. Reminder, we'll a little over an hour from now, we'll catch up with Sammy from the Eau Claire Express. The Express are also now officially on their all-star break. They'll be back at it to try to get that second half championship and clinch a playoff spot. They're going to begin on the road against Waterloo starting this Friday. Friday and Saturday, they'll be at Waterloo, back at Carson Park. Coming up this Sunday, the 20th, taking on La Crosse for 2 games. So they're chasing Eau Claire, chasing Duluth right now in the standings. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk some Badger basketball, hiring a new general manager. RJ Cardinal is going to be joining us coming up at about 8:25, let's say 8:25 this morning. So we'll discuss that and probably a little bit more football as we get closer and closer to not only the NFL training camp, but the college football season and college football practice and such too. So we'll hit that up. And then if you missed it in the first part, how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? If you missed it, we'll kind of revisit it, kind of reset it at the top of the hour. But how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? Pass rush numbers, those advanced statistics, if that's what you want to call them, they show a really good player. But sack numbers don't necessarily match up with the pressure rates. So, how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? How would you describe him as a player? So, kind of put your scouting cap on for that. We'll hit that up coming up in probably coming up in the next hour. So we got just a couple minutes. Good morning, Morgs.
How's it going, Kasper?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're gonna do Robin to Batman, Chewbacca to Han Solo, Slimy to Oscar, Woodstock to Snoopy. Do you have a favorite sidekick?
We'll
do sports and non-sports because yeah, like think about famous sidekicks. Like if you were to take apart so what's your favorite? The Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Who's the main turtles and who are the sidekicks?
Well, the main one's probably Leo and Raph.
What?
Leo's the leader.
Okay.
Raph's got the attitude, but he's probably next in line. I mean, come on, the first movie really focused on Raphael a lot.
Okay,
so
some of us didn't see the first movie and take notes. So
it came out in like 89 and 90. How have you not seen it?
I guess I was busy growing up. Michelangelo's the party dude.
Nope.
I got that much. So who would you take from your favorite sidekick? Like, does Hudson have a favorite like character, cartoon fan, anything like that? Because sometimes the sidekick is better than the actual main character.
He is. Oh, I know there's like an answer there, and I can't think. Okay, I'll say this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with this route.
All right.
Luigi from Mario World.
Okay, why?
Because when Mario 3 came out on Nintendo, we all wanted to be Luigi, the green guy.
The green guy?
Yep.
Okay.
Got tired of the red one. We always wanted to be the green one.
So what about in like lore and legend in Cartoon Land? Do you have a favorite? Because like I like Woodstock from Snoopy.
I wasn't a big cartoon guy.
I hate to break this to you, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are
that
cartoons.
was about it.
They're not real.
That was it. But I was never like Saturday morning, got to get up and watch it.
Okay, so
how about sports? Penny Hardaway to my shack.
I was just gonna say, what about sports?
Penny Hardaway to my shack.
Why?
Because I was a big Orlando Magic fan.
Okay, what about? Can you think of any like Wisconsin sidekicks?
Yeah, because somebody just texted me your sidekick's name is Josh. So there you go.
As in Budweiser Josh?
Yeah.
He's everyone's sidekick this time of year. Cheers.
All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning. It's 715 day. Happy 715 day, everybody. And if you want to celebrate, you can at the Brewing Project 2 nights, 5 p.m. Food trucks, local vendors, got prizes going on. Thanks to our sponsors. Got presenting sponsor Courtesy Auto and Truck. Also, Anders Landscaping. We got UW Eau Claire Athletics, 715 Excavating, Auto Family Law, Walworths, all that good stuff. So, Courtesy Ford is our presenting sponsor. And big thanks to all the other sponsors, all of our other sponsors to help celebrate 715 Day. 715 Day going on at the Brewing Project tonight, starting at 5 p.m. And here's an awesome thing, too. Not only is there going to be food trucks, local vendors, prizes, 20% of the sales of their 715 Shandy will go to local animal shelters. So come grab a drink and support the furry friends in need while celebrating the 715. Coming up, we're going to get back to a little bit more green and gold chat here as we continue our training camp storyline series. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks. Going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks with Jordan Love, Malik Willis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this comes on the heels of ESPN's top 10 list of quarterbacks as voted on by scouts, talent evaluators, et cetera, et cetera. Jordan Love not in the top 10. He was listed as an honorable mention, probably at number 12 behind CJ Stroud. So, do you think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback? Or do you think, based off of last year, 12 is about right? Or maybe for some of you, you're like, that's too high. I would have put him lower. Maybe somewhere like that. I don't know. Speaking of green and gold, we were talking a little bit about Rashan Gary in the first part because, again, I'm not a – I don't – I used to think this was a cool thing. It's gotten overplayed. I understand why they still do it, but you could tell they barely don't even care about it anymore because it used to be like a primetime event. The top 100 players is voted on by the players from NFL Network. Now they just randomly drop it during the day. Rashan Gary was voted number 80 yesterday. And with that also came some, I think, interesting numbers and statistics. For example, the 33rd team posted pass rushers with a higher pressure rate than Rashan Gary since he entered the league. This is from 2019, minimum of 1,000 snaps. Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett. That's a pretty darn good list to be joined in the top 5. And then Next Gen Stats also said this about Rashan Gary. Gary generated pressure on 23.5% of his pass rushes on third down last season. 6th highest among defenders with at least 75 pass rushes on third down. However, Gary managed to generate pressure on just 7.8% of his pass rushes on early downs. So the question I've been throwing out to you wonderful peeps out there is, how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? How would you describe him as a player? Got great pass rushing pressure rates, but does he close? Where the sack numbers? Because I would argue, okay, great that he's paired up with Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett in that category, but the big difference between him and those guys, they also have the sack numbers to go with it. So how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? Think about that for a little bit. Hit me up. Shoot me with the text. Okay. Also, it is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. You can let me know what's grinding your gears. Also, we'll chat with the Eau Claire Express in a little under an hour from now for our Tuesday Express chat. The Express now on their All-Star break, but GMCM will be joining us. And then after that, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal, talk some Badgers. Badger basketball, new GM. We'll learn a little bit more about him with RJ coming up in just a little bit. We got the All-Star game tonight. How many of you are going to be watching that? You're going to be watching just to maybe see Jacob Mizorowski. If that's the case, maybe plan around the 5th inning or a little bit before. That's according to Dave Roberts. Now that could change, but that's kind of what he said yesterday. Probably around the 5th inning, Mizorowski is going to go in there. So, no, it doesn't sound like it's going to be Paul Skeens and Mizorowski back-to-back. But again, maybe that changes, maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. I wish we could see a little like Mizrowski going up against Aaron Judge and such. That'd be kind of fun, but it'll still be a decent order who he goes up against. Hey, also, I was asking with the last quarter century, because you're seeing a lot of these lists now in the sports world, the top 25 or the top players or the top teams in the last quarter century. And that's what Brandon and I are going to do on Friday. Brandon's going to do the top or the Brewers team of the last quarter century. Build that Brewers team from the last 25 years. I'm going to do the Packers. So Brandon's doing Brewers, I'll do Packers. And you're probably seeing something very similar across other platforms and such. But we're going to put our 2 cents in and our spin on it. But the question I'm asking is, besides Rodgers, and I'm not counting Favre, and try not to put like a player who maybe played 1 year in the 2000s. I'm talking about the majority of their career, their prime of their career was from 2000 to 2025. Okay, we don't need to include the guys that maybe played a year or two in there. And I'm specifically taking out Favre out of this here too. Who would be the next best Packer player in the last 25 years? In the last 25 years, who is the next best Packers player outside of Rodgers and Favre? So again, like take out Reggie White. Okay. I know you like played for the Panthers in the early 2000s, but I mean, come on, let's stop. 2000 to 2025. Who would you have? I went with Woodson. I would throw Devontae. I think somebody mentioned Bakhtiari. I think that's a good one. Clay was mentioned quite a bit on here. I threw his name out there. You throw a little Donald Driver. You want to throw a little Jordy, Amon Green. I think you got to throw Amon Green in there. I mean, especially like from 2000 to say 2006, really wasn't a whole lot to cheer for Green Bay. It was like, hey, let's get a late run in that last quarter of the season just to get to the postseason. Maybe we win a wild card game, maybe we don't. But Amon Green was pretty darn good in the early 2000s for Green Bay, so I'd throw him in there. Who else would you put in there if we came up with a list? Also kind of helps me get some ideas flowing here for when I got to put together that team on Friday, the Packers quarter of a century team. Kind of giving me some ideas here because I got to go. I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna go 11 on the defense. I'm gonna go 11 on the offense, and I'm gonna go my 3 specialists: long snapper, punter, and kicker on this thing. Kicker's pretty dang easy. I mean, Mason's got that locked up for crying out loud. But come on now, I'm gonna go deep in this and go with the long snapper. That's pretty cool. I might. No, do I go a little Rob Davis or Brett Swain? Not Brett Swain. Mac is a good. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's coming up Friday. But give me some ideas. Throw out some other names. Maybe we haven't mentioned or just kind of yep. I agree. It's Woodson, or I agree on this too. So, who do you got? Okay. Let's. Yeah. So we were talking a little bit earlier about Mizrowski. A couple of people chiming in about the whole Mizrowski, the All-Star game sort of thing too. Says, this is from Jim that said this a little bit ago. So just getting to it. Sorry, Jim. But Jim texted a little bit ago saying, for all the Brewers fans complaining about Mizrowski being the All-Star game, I don't want to ever hear you complain about the national media not giving the Brewers any extra attention. And that's kind of something I was referring to as well. That was something I was kind of referring to a little bit earlier as well, is like, there's a lot of times we've complained about, well, Brewers weren't a story, or Brewers aren't getting talked about enough on a national stage, or they're not getting any credit in that. And now they got Mizrowski here, and then you got, well, he wasn't. I'm taking it as a win. No, we could, did he deserve 5 games getting in and such? Probably not. But I'm taking it as a win as a fan. I'm taking it. Why not? I'm getting a little extra attention for my favorite team. The Miz is going to be in the spotlights. He's going to be in the showcase, the Midsummer Classic. I'm going to take it as a win. I'm going to take it as a win. So, all right, tell you what, let's take a quick break and we're going to get back to Little Green and Gold chat. We're going to continue our training camp preview, or I keep saying preview season, our training camp storyline countdown series. Talking about the top storylines, talking about, the big items heading into preseason and training camp. Quarterbacks and rookies and injured players report at the end of the week. Week from tomorrow is the first practice. We've got the Hall of Fame game coming up, for crying out loud, at the end of the month already on the 31st. That's 2 weeks from Thursday, man. So we're going to continue our season. We're going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks. And I want to know, do you think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback right now in the National Football League? Is he the top quarterback in the NFC North? Is he the top quarterback in the division? Let's talk about it. All right. We'll take our first break and we'll be back after these quick words. Green and Gold training camp just days away from kicking off next Wednesday, although we've got players already having to report by the end of the week. It's almost here. The bikes are almost here, and the guys, the players, making some kiddos super proud, riding their little bike and such. One of the best traditions in all of sports is the bike riding. I really hope that I hope we don't get to a point where those practices become incredibly limited and open to the public where a lot of kids won't have the chance to take their bikes over there. I hope they keep that thing going. Yeah, they got us. So, but we continue our training camp storyline series here with the Green and Gold, and we've touched on a boatload of different items. We've talked about the offensive line, the defensive line, the wide receivers, the tight ends, the corners, the coaches. I want to talk about the quarterbacks today. And part of the reason I want to talk about the quarterbacks is because of the top 10 list that came out from ESPN with their talent evaluators, scouts, personnel, NFL personnel, and such. And Jordan Love did not make the top 10. He was listed as the second honorable mention. I'm assuming it would be second because CJ Stroud was first, and then Jordan Love was after that. So I'm operating under the assumption he was about 12th. Okay. So in your mind, is Jordan Love a top 10 quarterback? Do you think he's the best quarterback in the NFC North? That list had Jared Goff at number, is it 8? I believe it was 8. So what's a little surprising to me that Jalen Hurts was 9. Thought maybe he'd be a little bit higher, but that's one list out there. But looking at the quarterbacks, and we'll start with number 10. Okay. I think this goes without saying. This team will go as far as 10 can carry them. And you can say that with almost practically every other team in the National Football League. They'll go as far as the quarterback can carry them. A lot is dependent on the quarterback play of each team. It's not the case for everything. I mean, you could have great quarterback play and you just stink elsewhere. But I mean, this specific team, this Packers team, they will go as far as that quarterback is at the high level that the quarterback can give them, high level play. And you look at last year, and I know one of the talking points or the narratives that were out there from a national media sense was a regression from Jordan Love, that he regressed last year. And I don't buy that. I don't fully buy that. Did he play to the high expectations that we had of him heading into 2024? No. The way that 2023, how that ended, we had, and rightfully so, I would argue, rightfully so, we had super high expectations for Jordan Love in 2024. And we set that bar so high. And again, I believe we had every right to do so. And it didn't hit that mark. And I think a lot of it did have to do with a couple big things. One, I think that knee injury and that groin injury, that was something he was dealing with for a huge chunk of the season. And I know there's going to be some fans that don't like that reason. They'll say it's an excuse and they don't like it. And that's your own prerogative. That's your own feelings. But I personally feel like it did have an effect. And you could see some throws and some plays where you could tell the knee, maybe he just wasn't comfortable with it, confident with it, the groin. You could see it. But you also have to factor in the poor play from his receiving department. Jordan Love gets discredited in terms of like completion percentage, completions to attempts when that receiver drops the ball. And you've got some fans that'll say, well, you didn't move the ball, you didn't do this and that. And you look at a deeper picture, and I'm not exonerating every drop ball or every missed throw. I'm not exonerating Jordan Love from any of that, or from all of it. Yes, there were some poor throws. Yes, there were some poor decisions or some missed marks. But there was also another part of that whole story, and there was just some insane amount of drop balls from receivers. So while it sounds like I'm making up excuses for Jordan Love, I'm making up some. I'm backing him up some because I think there is a contingency out there that feels like he just had this super regression last year. When really, no, that wasn't the case. But I do believe that Jordan Love is entering a season, year 3 as a starter, where I think we just wanna see the man now put it all together because we have seen really good games and really good stretches from him, and now we just wanna see it all from week 1 to week 17. We wanna see it throughout a whole season. The consistency factor. We wanna see him stay healthy. We wanna see him put up, you know, amazing games week in and week out. I would not classify Jordan Love as an elite quarterback right now. I would not. I know some fan blogs out there are already saying he's an elite quarterback. I don't think I would put Jordan Love as an elite quarterback right now. And I understand why that particular list had him at 12. I understand that. And if you didn't see it, this was a little bit of the write-up that they had on there. It said Love appeared ready for top 10 status by the end of 2023. He was blanking outstanding, an NFL personnel evaluator said about that stretch. Play action on time, big arm confidence. That shifted slightly in 2024, due in part to a week 1 knee injury that cost him 2 games. It looked like it took him some time to work through managing that injury. The personnel evaluator said another full off season with LaFleur and more receiving options, and he will be fine. So I think, I mean, again, I don't want to speak for all the scouts and talent evaluators and such out there, but I think, when it comes to Jordan Love, the arrow is still trending upward, and I think there's still a lot of people out there that says, okay, if he just stays healthy, he's in a good system and such, he's got some intriguing weapons, he's going to be fine. He's still good. He's going to be a really good quarterback. And I would agree with that. Like, I ultimately feel like at the end of this season, we will be talking about Jordan Love as a top 10 quarterback. If I'm looking at it from right now and I look at this division, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Jared Goff, Jordan Love. Isn't that just a kind of a weird mixture of different types of quarterbacks and such? Would you put him as your top one? I probably would. But I understand why he wasn't ranked in the top 10. So looking at this season, I do think this is a big year, third year starting for Jordan Love. We were talking about, Rashan Gary and living up to the contract status and such. And I mean, let's face it, Jordan Love is one of the top paid quarterbacks in this league. And there's going to be a lot of people that want to see top 5, 6, 7 play from Jordan Love because of what he is getting paid because of that contract. I do feel like Jordan Love is set up to succeed. He's got a running game with Josh Jacobs. I think the offensive line is solid. I know the receivers struggled in catching the football last year. I'm optimistic that they're going to improve this year. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs. I think again, I don't know. It's just my gut. I feel like he's going to be focused coming into a contract year. You bring in Matthew Golden. I'm expecting a bigger input from Tucker Kraft. Throwing a little Luke Musgrave in there. Jordan Love is set up to succeed. It's just, is he going to completely take that bull by the horns and run with it from week 1 to week 17? And, he's probably going to have a game, maybe a couple games where it's just like, okay, was off the mark a little bit. Not the greatest performance from Jordan Love. And that's just, you're playing the averages at that point. But I'm expecting a really good year from Jordan Love. I didn't buy the whole regression talk and such because I think there were other circumstances and such that affected some of those box score scouting numbers. But if you want to say year 3's got to be a big one for him, yeah, I could see that because you just want to see the consistency through it. You want to see him healthy from week 1 to week 17. You want to see that. And you want to see him continue to play at a high level. Because going back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, for the Packers to advance deep in the postseason, for them to win a bunch of games, maybe make a deep playoff run. A lot is going to be on the shoulders of Jordan Love, of the quarterback play. That is a tough as nails division. There's probably going to be some close games, some grinded out games, some games where you are going to be relying on relying on that quarterback to lead you to victory. So I think it's fair to expect some high level play from Jordan Love this season. You have to. You have to. Why wouldn't you? That should be the expectation. I wouldn't call him elite, but I really hope that after this year, we're going to be calling him elite. Possibly. Malik Willis. I'm already forecasting this to kind of happen in preseason. Not everybody, but there's going to be some. Because it happened last year. You're probably going to hear people say we should trade Malik Willis and get something in return because he's going to be a free agent after this year. No, don't. Just because you have finally maybe a stable backup quarterback situation doesn't mean to go trade him for an early day 3 pick. Because that's all you're going to get for him. Is like a 5th round pick potentially. Maybe, if that. If Malik Willis goes out there and has himself a solid preseason, because we're going to probably see a ton of Malik Willis in the preseason. And if he goes out there and he has a really good preseason, you do not need to go trade. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to be saying this throughout this whole training camp and preseason. You don't have to trade him to get something in return just because he's going to be a free agent next year. I want to have that backup quarterback option, a decent. I'd rather have Malik Willis than Sean Clifford. Okay, and I know Sean Clifford was a 4th or 5th round pick, but I'd rather have Malik Willis than Sean Clifford. Now, if this was a team that, all right, we're not expecting playoffs, it's kind of a rebuilding situation or whatever. Okay, maybe the conversation is a little bit different. But what we saw from Malik Willis last year and his ability to come in and still win games, I want that. I still want that just in case something happens to Jordan Love. I want that to happen. I'd rather not see Malik Willis in these games. I'd rather not see him come in at all because that means Jordan Love's healthy and he's ready to go. But I want to be able to have that option. Like, okay, if we got to go to Malik Willis, we got to go to Malik Willis, a guy who's, won some games. Matt LaFleur, the offensive staff know how to prepare and get him ready and know how to get a game plan going with Malik Willis. Because if he's playing well and playing well in the preseason doesn't mean that we just automatically have to flip him for a draft pick in the 3rd or on day 3. Run with him. Keep him on the roster just in case. Malik Willis last year was an insanely nice surprise. And I know when the Packers first acquired him from a 7th round pick, there was a lot of fans that rolled their eyes. Like, really? Malik Willis? And then what does he do? He comes in weeks 2 and 3 and leads a charge. Then you have some fans saying maybe he should be starting. Stop. But right now, when I look at the quarterback and the backup quarterback position, I feel pretty darn confident in it. I mean, there was a lot of years when Aaron was the quarterback in Green Bay, and there was a lot of times where we were like, man, I wouldn't mind if they would just go in free agency, invest, and bring in a veteran backup quarterback. Spend a little bit of money and bring in a veteran backup quarterback. That was something that was brought up more than a couple times. And a lot of times, Green Bay would probably just draft a quarterback in the 7th round or have an undrafted rookie free agent, be their backup quarterback. I mean, everybody remembers the Tim Boyle era as the backup quarterback. But I'm a proponent of having a veteran backup quarterback, somebody that has been out there and somebody that has maybe won some games for you. And there's nothing wrong with having that third quarterback stashed on your practice squad and trying to mold them to maybe eventually be that backup quarterback for you. But right now, I'm feeling good about the quarterback depth chart right now for Green Bay. Because let's face it, knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't happen. But knock on wood, we get to our third option at quarterback, things probably ain't going to be going too well. I don't necessarily see a revision of the 8-7-1 season in 2013 when Green Bay barely just got in on the skin of their teeth that year when they went through how many quarterbacks? Rodgers, um, Wallace for like a drive in the Philly game because I was there. Scott Tolzien. Then they bring back Matt Flynn. Yeah, 4 different starting quarterbacks they had that season, and somehow they make the playoffs and almost beat the 49ers in the first round. But to kind of wrap it up, Jordan Love, I do think it's a big year for him. It's like a growth year. It's another step year. Can he take that next step? And you're going to see a lot of people use the comparisons of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers in his 3rd year as a starter. What did he do? Super Bowl 45. I don't know if there's others, if there's any listeners out there that are going to use that same metric or that same barometer to compare Love and Rodgers, but it's going to be out there. Well, Aaron Rodgers led his team to a Super Bowl in his 3rd year starting. Jordan Love going to do that. It's probably going to see it on the TV, on all those graphics when you're watching the game and such. But I think part of that though too is like it's another year that we just want to see another step. Maybe that step to elevate into elite status because he's not there yet for me. Jordan Love's not an elite quarterback. I hope he gets there, and I hope that step is this season. I think he's got the tools on the team to do it, and I think he himself has the traits to be that quarterback. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll wrap up the second hour here. Then we got a busy 8 o'clock hour coming up here. So stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Happy 715 Day, everybody. And if you want to celebrate 715 Day, then you need to head down to the Brewing Project tonight, 5 p.m. Food trucks, local vendors, prizes going on, plus 20% of their sales of the 715 Shandy will go to local animal shelters. Big thanks to our sponsors, presenting sponsor, Courtesy Ford. We've got UW Eau Claire Athletics, 715 Excavating, Auto Family Law, Ho Chunk Gaming, Black River Falls. Got Blair Online Auctions, Don's RVing, and our good friends at Mike's Star Markets, and then Blue Marble Pub too. So that's happening tonight's 5 p.m. 715 Day at the Brewing Project. Might be a good day to have a cold beverage with the temperatures and such. Coming up just past 8 o'clock, we'll catch up with Sammy, GM Sammy from the Eau Claire Express for our Eau Claire Express Tuesday chat. The Express now currently on their All-Star break, so good time to kind of take a look back and look ahead to a race to the finish, because you're looking at the schedule here, and we're talking about a little less than a month left of games going at it. So, and the Express are fighting to get that first or second half championship, chasing Duluth in the standings right now. So, but we'll talk to Sammy, and then after that, we'll switch gears just a little bit and talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ Cardinal, the Badger basketball team, with a new general manager. So we'll hit that up and get to know a little bit about him. Also, don't forget to send me your Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesdays. What is grinding your gears? All right. Make it appropriate so we can say it on the air. Make it appropriate so we can say it on the air. All right. Text it on over 715 830 1912. What is grinding your gears? I had somebody text this in and say, actually, I had a couple questions getting texted. One's football related, the other one's not. But saying, what would qualify Jordan Love to be an elite quarterback? 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions this season. The thing is like I don't think we can put a I don't want to put like just a statistical number or a statistical box score on it. I don't think you can do that. I mean, yeah, 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions would be pretty darn epic. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty darn good stat line. Aaron Rodgers won an MVP with that. But it's got to be more, in my opinion, than just what stats tell you or what a box score number will tell you. It's got to be more than that. And that's something I think, we just got to see with our own eyes. And it's got to be, like, all right, how far can he lead his team in the postseason? If you're down in a big game, is he going to lead you to that game-winning drive, time in, time out? Those type of things. So to me, I don't know if we can just like define it as a straight up box score. I don't think we could put a line on it. I don't think we could say, well, if he hits, 38 and a half or more touchdown passes and throws less than, 6.5 interceptions, that means he's elite. No, I don't think you can just do that. It's more than that. So I'm excited to see Jordan this year continue to elevate, continue to grow, continue to climb and get closer to that elite stats. I wouldn't put him as an elite quarterback yet, but I hope we see those steps this year. That's why I think year 3 is kind of a big year to see him continue to get there, because I don't think he's there yet. Another texter earlier said, what do you think about the All-Star festivities adding a skills competition, kind of like the NBA All-Star weekend festivities? Interesting. Like, yeah, like why don't they do something? I like that. That's from Matt on our texting line. I kind of like the idea of doing some like baseball skills, like, okay, say Bobby Witt Jr., for example. Bobby Witt Jr.'s, making these cutoff throws to the plate, accurate throws to the plate with a runner going through, or, something like that, relay throws. Do you do some skills like that? Do you do some hitting skills where you try to hit the target here or there? You push it, you pull it. You think Major League that would be kind of cool, I think, to add a little bit more. Now I know they probably don't have as much time to do that, but I mean, can they do that something leading up to the home run derby? A little bit during the day and that. I think that'd be cool to do a little bit of a skills competition, get some of those other players involved. Could you do like, yeah, hitting a different target, do some relay throws, accuracy throws, that sort of. I mean, we love it when a guy gets an assist from the outfield and just guns the guy out at home. Can we do some sort of that'd be I think that'd be kind of cool. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I got a couple texters saying about the Miz. No, I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame, or not the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. I don't think he should be in the All Star game. He doesn't have the qualifications for. But if others turned him down or turned the game down, then what else was Major League Baseball supposed to do? It's like you said. It's a business decision, and he draws the attention to the game. Another texter said, I agree with you. Brewers fans shouldn't be complaining about Mizorowski in the All Star game because a lot of Brewers fans complain that they don't get enough national attention. And now you got a player in the All Star game, and Brewers fans are saying he shouldn't be in there. What kind of fan are you if you're a Brewers fan saying he shouldn't be in there? That is from Ben on the texting line. So if you want to continue the Mizorowski stuff, go for it. You can text us as you know, Mizorowski talked a little bit to the media yesterday for some all-star festivities, and he said, like he said, players aren't upset with him, and why would they be? Right? I mean, why would they direct their anger towards him if they don't like it? Direct it towards Major League Baseball or something like that. It's like Mizorowski said, they're not upset with me. He said, the last 5 weeks have been insane. I thought the All-Star break would be a chance to sit down and reflect, and now we're here. So, yeah, I mean, put yourself in issue. What was he supposed to say? No? Nah, I don't think I deserve it. Hell no. If I was in his shoes too, I'd be saying, yep, put me on that plane. I'm going. Sure, I would have liked a little R&R, but no, 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 no. I'm gonna add that to my resume. I'm gonna pitch in that. Yeah, absolutely. So it's straight up business. Straight up business. I don't have a problem. I'm not letting it bother me. I don't know why there's so many people that are just kind of letting it bother them. I'm not letting it bother me. It's an all-star game for crying out loud. It's who cares? Who cares? All-star game, by the way, tonight, 7 p.m. If you want to partake in it, if you want to see the Miz pitch, Dave Roberts kind of gave you kind of a timeline on when he's going to pitch. He said that he plans to bring Mizorowski into the game as early as the 5th inning. So kind of game plan that. Might want to watch it right away at the beginning, just in case he decides to bring him in a little bit earlier. A little bit earlier. So let's do a Toys and Four to Grind My Gears Tuesday to wrap up the second hour. We got a couple of Grind My Gears. Bees Mom, I don't know if this is a Grind My Gears from you, but it says, stop complaining about Miz. Was he supposed to say no? Go Brewers. Another texter says, what grinds my gears is everybody making a big deal about Mizorowski being in the All-Star game. By the way, this is from Kevin. Kevin goes on to say that it's straight up attention. He is one of the hottest names in baseball, and you're putting him on a national stage to showcase him in front of the rest of the baseball world. It's not that hard to understand. Another texter says, what grinds my gears again is the Jacob Mizorowski talk. This is from Garrett. Garrett says, what grinds my gears is everybody knocking Jacob Mizorowski for making the All-Star game. What was he supposed to do? Back out and say, hey, I only played 5 games. I don't deserve it. A lot of other players apparently turned it down. Then they came to him. Was there other players maybe they should have asked before Mizorowski? Sure. but they got to him and they got a guy that says yes, who happens to be the hottest name in baseball right now. It's not that hard to understand. Sam says, what grinds my gears is Rashan Gary. He puts up great pressure rate numbers, but never comes away with a sack, it feels like. Those are great numbers to be compared with to Miles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson. But as you mentioned, the biggest difference is the sack numbers. Would like to see Rashan Gary finish the job this year and up those sack numbers. Another person about Rashan Gary, because we were talking a little bit about him earlier, saying what grinds my gears is Rashan Gary. That's how I would best describe him as a player, is that he grinds my gears because I feel like the potential is there. He does have a high motor and he does generate some pressure, but he can never come away with enough sacks to match those pressure numbers. Another texter says, what grinds my gears is Packers fans hating on Jordan Love. I don't know of another fan base that is so critical of their quarterback the way Packers fans have been with some of their quarterbacks over the years. You're supposed to support your team and your quarterbacks, yet we've got fans saying that Jordan Love is not the answer and they need to find another quarterback. That is from Mark on our texting line. So, all right, there's a few grind my gears. There's a few of those. If you got any more, send those puppies on over. All right. A couple more when we were asking, do you think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback? Ben says, yes, I feel like he is a top 10 quarterback. I would put him ahead of all the other quarterbacks in the NFC North. So that means Jared Goff would be outside the top 10 according to that ESPN list. We've got Tim saying, not quite top 10, but maybe right at 10 or 11. If he wasn't hurt last year and he put up some consistent numbers, then easily he would be a top 10 quarterback. I do think he will be close to top 7 after this season. Another texter says, yes, I would put him in the top 10 ahead of Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff. That is from Travis. And another texter saying that he would put Jordan Love probably right around 10. And that is from Mike. We've got so also we were kind of throwing out a fun question here because NFL.com did a podcast of the quarter century top 25 players in the NFL the last 25 years from 2000 to 2025. And the highest rated player on there that has a Packers connection was Aaron Rodgers at 6. Tom Brady was number 1. Patrick Mahomes was number 2. Okay. JJ Watt was 5. I just lost. I'll have to take a look where it's at now. But Aaron Donald was 4. Peyton Manning was 3. Aaron Rodgers was 6. So if we take Aaron Rodgers out, Julius Peppers was under 2, even though he spent a couple years with Green Bay. But take Aaron Rodgers off. You look at from 2000 to 2025 and throw Favre off this too, even though he played 2000, 2007. Take Favre off. Who would be the next best Packer player from the last 25 years? Got a Nick Collins pick if he didn't get hurt. Got Woodson. Got Adams. Got Nelson. Got Bakhtiari. Matthews. Clay Matthews. Amon Green. We've gotten those names thrown out there. Tramon Williams' name's been thrown out there. Who would you put in there in the last 25 years? I went with Woodson. Mine was Woodson. But if I told you to just pick one, pick one. Narrow it down. As hard as it may be, you got to roll with it. Who would it be? I'd probably go Woodson. I know he began his career in the late 90s and that, but I'm a believer that he solidified his Hall of Fame career during his time in Green Bay, winning a Defensive Player of the Year and obviously a Super Bowl too. Then he goes back to the Raiders, adds a little bit more on to his Hall of Fame resume, but I would probably put Charles Woodson. Then my next one gets a little bit more, it's a little bit more crazy. Do I go Devontae? Do I go Amon Green? Donald Driver? Who else would you put on, the next one after that. So think about that for a little bit and hit me up with a text if you got maybe some other names nobody has mentioned at this point. All right. So again, take Rodgers off, take Farvey off of it. Then it becomes a little bit more of a difficult conversation. Plus, I'm just looking for some nominations for when on Friday we do our quarter of a century Packers team, and Brandon does the Brewers version of that. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off in 1 minute. So coming up just past 8, we'll talk with Sammy from the Eau Claire Express. The Express again on their All-Star break. We'll catch up with her for a little bit. We'll talk some Badger basketball. The Ben's team getting a new general manager. We'll talk to RJ about that and learn a little bit more about learn a little bit more about the GM and the role and such. Definitely something that we've seen over the last few years, specifically with football, but we're seeing it now in basketball too. These programs adding general managers to come in and kind of help with the whole transfer portal, NIL. I mean, it's crazy world out there. So we'll talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ probably about in 25 minutes or so, about 8:25 here. So Express chat and some Badger chat coming up. But still continue to send me your Packers, your Brewers thoughts. Text us. That's the easiest way. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. 2 hours in. We got one more to go. Got some news updates, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Third hour kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning of July 15th. Big thanks for making us a part of your starts. Well, you better be already up and at it here this morning. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal. We'll talk a little Badgers with him, with the Badger men's basketball team hiring a new general manager. We'll learn a little bit about that and maybe chat a little college football with that. We'll get back to your texts, get your predictions in. Who you're going to pick? National League, American League for the All-Star game tonight. Send those on over. That texting line again, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. So, all right, let's talk a little Eau Claire Express, shall we? Let's talk a little Eau Claire Express. The All-Star, speaking of the All-Star break, we got the Northwoods League currently in their All-Star break as well. And joining us, as usual, every Tuesday is GM Sammy. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you enjoying a little break, a little All-Star break right now? So
Yeah.
Yeah?
Short and sweet, but
yeah, but
something nice after a long 10-game homestand.
yeah, I can imagine. So, for those listening right now, who is representing the Express for the All-Star game?
Walkerettes from St.
Walkerettes.
Thomas and Boyceville.
All right, so a little, that's kind of cool. It's a local connection there too with Boyceville.
Last year we had Briggs Richards from Menominee, also from St. Thomas.
Yep, exactly. So that's cool. I know. I think when I talked to Craig last week, he was heading over there too.
He's heading over today for the softball. There's the Nightmares. So the Madison Nightmares are playing before the Home Run Derby. And then a couple of the girls will participate in the Home Run Derby tonight. And then tomorrow's the All-Star game.
So that's going to be fun. So is Dale going over there too? Is he taking a little time off and trying to recharge?
Yeah. I think Dale's off the grid for right now.
Good for him. So, well, I mean, this second half right now, I mean, you guys just a couple games back from first place, chasing Duluth right now. So
Huskies.
I know, right? It seems like every year we're talking about Duluth for something.
Duluth or lacrosse.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you played Duluth, just 2 games at the beginning of August there too. So I mean, it's kind of like a playoff mode right now. It feels like a little bit.
It definitely feels like it. We've got 10 days of home games left, but we do have 11 home games left because we have that doubleheader coming up on Sunday from our rain out on June 26th with the Loggers. So I don't know if that second half win, if that goes towards second half or if it just will go towards our overall record just because it was a first half game. But
yeah, so that'll be it's if you want to get to the Carson Park, and you only because you're looking at the schedule too to finish the month of July. You got a few games, still a little bit of road games in there, but then you finish strong in August at Carson Park.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, so that I mean those could be potential clinching spots. Not to get too far ahead, but that's something to kind of look at. So, and then I mean we've got bobbleheads coming up here too.
We got Dale's bobblehead coming up Monday, the 21st, and then we have Vic's bobblehead on August 2nd. It's a busy last stretch of huge giveaways, sponsors, just a lot going on. Should be fun.
So because I know you guys took the interns to Target Field for a little Twins and Cubs action over there too, just because they've been putting in a ton of work and a lot of days in a row. Are the energy level still up there? Is this a good break for them though too, just to kind of for that final push to the end of the season?
Yeah, it's definitely a much needed break for them as well. They put in so much effort on game day, running around, finding contestants, making sure the ballpark looks its best. It's definitely a well-deserved break that they're getting right now, and they all had fun. That was probably one of the quickest games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It was 2.5 hours.
That is really quick. That is really quick.
Not a lot of offense for the Twins, but
a
couple of home runs for the Cubs.
Yep. So, but no, that was cool that you guys do that for the interns.
Yeah.
That was a really cool thing. So, I know last week we were over there, and again, big thanks for letting T and I record the podcast over there. Shout out to those kids because they made Carson Park loud.
It's my favorite day of the year.
Yeah. I mean, and I was looking over to the dugout, and those players were getting into it too. They were kind of help lead the chants and all that. So I mean, they were getting into it, and that's what you want at the ballpark to be loud like that.
Yes,
I mean, it was so shout out to all those kids. I know they were from all over, whether it was the Y or
Mhm.
something, but they were definitely into it.
Yeah, they had a blast.
Yeah, and I know Hudson was like, "Why are they playing Mickey Mouse? Or why are they
The
playing Baby
SpongeBob
Shark?" Yeah.
theme song
He
is
claims to not know who SpongeBob is, and I'm like, "Okay, guy, you know." Because he was at the fair and got one of those inflatable bats
Yep.
with SpongeBob, and he's like, "I don't know who this is." I'm like, "You know SpongeBob, because you made the comment at the Express." "No, I don't. No, I don't." You know, because he's too old for that.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but
Never
yeah,
too old.
right?
29. We still watch SpongeBob at my house.
Yeah. I'm 39, and I'm not yet. 2 more days. 2 more days, then I'll
2
be
more
38,
days.
39. So, but so what's as you get set for after the All-Star break and such, I mean, what's kind of the message or what's kind of the goal here for the next couple weeks? Is it just kind of power through? Is it just kind of, just pick up where you left off? Do you use this time to kind of look back at anything, how the season's gone so
Yeah,
far?
definitely look back at how the first half and a little bit more have gone. We did a mid-season survey
Mhm.
on social media. So trying to take some of those suggestions and plug them into, these last 10 games of just how we can make everyone's park.
Mhm.
Um, and then just, trying to pick up where we left off and really power through and make these 10 games, jammed.
Mhm.
We want Carson Park to be as full as possible.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So, looking at the schedule, I mean, we talked about a little bit of the bobbleheads, but also you got another kids TV
Yep.
takeover night coming up on the 20th.
Yep. With Buzz and Woody.
Oh, that's going to be a good one with Toy
Mhm.
Story. So, golf towel giveaway as
Yes.
well. And then I hate to say this, kiddos, but back to school nights on August 2nd, along with the Vic cable.
Yep.
It's coming. It's coming.
It'll
I
be.
swear, as soon as it's like August, it
Yeah.
feels like school now
Yeah.
is coming up here. So, and then got the Oktoberfest t-shirts giveaway, and then another concert
Yeah.
on August 9th. So put that on the calendar
Uncommon
too.
denominator to close out the season. Hopefully,
Hmm.
we'll have a game either the next day or on the 11th.
Hmm.
So hopefully, it's not the end yet.
Right, definitely. And I know yesterday was kind of a cool day, or the last couple days too, because some alumni getting drafted.
Yeah.
That's been going on the last couple days. And if you want to see the list, you guys been posting it up there on your social media
8 of
feeds.
them.
Yeah, 8
It
of
was
them.
a it was a crazy from the 10th round to the 20th round. It was like constantly checking, Craig sending like, "Oh, I just saw this one." Pete's sending me some, and I'm trying to text our graphics intern, Elliot or Braxton, and say, "All right, know, Trevor Haskins just got drafted in
Hmm.
this round at this pick by this team, and he played for us at this season," and going and finding their headshot. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, there is quite the list, up
yeah,
there too, and shout out too to the graphics for, even putting some of the new logos on the hats, and I mean, those I wish I knew how to do that stuff. But, I mean, you got players from 2023 and 2024,
in
and
2022
2022,
and this year,
and this year too. That's
George
right.
Pilecki.
Yep, right there, 12th round,
Yep.
going to the Padres.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really
His
cool.
last year and this year. He's a good kid.
Mhm. So, is that something like you guys I mean, you're a mom now, kind of a proud parent type of feeling when you see those players get drafted?
Yeah, it's
And
always fun. Some of them, I know just a little bit more, just depending
mhm,
on how long they're there and how much they interacted. Or there's some of them that were here for 2 weeks because they got
mhm,
hurt or something. So
yep,
it's always fun to see our guys get drafted.
mhm. Was, Emilio the highest one, round 8,
Yes.
going to the Marlins? He
Yep.
was a last year player for
Yeah, he
2024?
was here for 6 days.
Mhm.
And 5 of those games were on the road.
Oh, so spent a hot minute at Carson Park,
Yes.
over there, but
Yes.
still, you get to
Yeah.
lay claim to him. So that's always cool. I always look forward to that to see because that's the thing, we don't know when they're here, but that's the intrigue part of it,
Yep.
that they could be future
Yeah.
major leaguers. Just look at the banners outside Carson Park for crying out loud,
Exactly.
or look at some of the players that are just across the border, like
Mm-hmm.
Griffin Jacks
Yep.
playing in that. So, what has been, as you look, do you kind of view this as like the second, I know it's like a ceremonial second half for Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of the same sense in the Northwoods League, or is that kind of kick in a little bit earlier when it's actually the second half of the season?
Yeah, that kind of I think that definitely kicks in at the beginning of July when the team really changes. I mean,
Hmm.
some teams will go from, you know, 20 guys on their first half roster to now you've got 20 new ones.
Hmm.
So it's definitely a huge change between this year. It was
June 30th was the end of the first half, and July 1st was the start of the second half. So it was for us, it wasn't a huge difference. We had guys trickling in here and there, and they have been for like the last 2 weeks, but it's definitely then it's a big change where now it's like, okay, every team knows if you have not, secured a playoff spot to now it's time to try and secure that spot.
Yeah. And where's that balancing act too? Because I got to imagine, are some kids maybe going to be going back to school coming
Some
up
will
here too?
probably be going back after the All-Star break.
Okay.
And then some will be going back at the end of July and then, August. So, we've had the years in the past where, if we clinch the first half, it's a completely different team in the second half and in the playoffs that are playing for us. So it's definitely makes for a different ball game.
That's got to be stressful too, just to, like for Dale, for instance, trying to manage the game and trying to get the players and then also thinking about, okay, who am I going to have? Who do I need to get?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's got to be a lot on the table or on
Yeah.
the shoulders to be, I mean, you can't really take a break from that,
No.
right? I mean, you're constantly trying to maybe find somebody or find some players to come
Yeah,
in.
you'll see a lot of guys just coming in for the last bit. They have to play in X amount of games or have been played by X amount of date to be able to be eligible in the playoffs.
Okay.
So you're also thinking about deadlines and it's a lot that goes into it. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. Shout out Dale. I don't know where you're at right now, but shout out for that. So, as you kind of look at, this, because you're chasing Duluth and you only have a couple games with them. So obviously you got to win your own games too, but you need a little help in the standings too. So will there be a little scoreboard watching, you think, too, just to kind of see what's going on against the Huskies?
Oh yeah. As we get into that final stretch, especially as we hit August, you're watching every, whether it's us, Duluth, and Thunder Bay, we're the top 3 teams you're watching. You're trying to figure out all the scenarios of, if this happens and this happens and this happens, we could clinch. So there's a lot of scoreboard watching.
And speaking of scoreboards, I got to say too, like I've noticed you guys getting more comfortable with the scoreboard and new stuff.
That is all our media relations director, Ben Peterson, and then CJ, Dale's youngest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they collaborate and they work on that together. And then CJ typically runs the board during the game.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they've been doing a really good job with the WNB financial video board.
Yeah, because we were there Wednesday and there was the Bob Uecker.
Yes, the Bob Uecker tribute.
Yep, that was. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
That's
The first
new.
time we played, it got a round of applause.
That's awesome. It was the first time I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You just notice the different things involved in it.
And we
too,
try to change the player profile cards, the backgrounds, for the different themes.
Yeah, Pete was telling me Ben would have was it with the honkers, this intimidating goose on there that would kind of do a quick turn and all that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So shout out Ben.
Yeah, he's doing a great
Ben
job.
And CJ. So that's really cool. But no, you could definitely tell a difference as the season has been progressing and such over
Happy
there.
to hear that.
Oh yeah, that's why I was like, it caught me off guard. I'm like, I hear Euchre's voice.
Yeah.
Turned up and here he is on the on the
Justice
big board.
got us that WAU. So
yeah, that is really cool. So as you look towards the next couple weeks and such, obviously bobblehead night's going to be a couple big ones over there too. Anything you're really, I mean, you're probably excited for everything, but is there anything else that you're really kind of looking forward to in these next few weeks as you start to wrap up the season already?
It's bittersweet. You get down to the last stretch, especially when just being home for the last 3 days of the season. You're like, oh, that's our last Monday, or that's our last Tuesday, or that's our last Wednesday. And you're like, the season's almost done. So it's, you just try to savor these last 10 games before you know what the players are gone, the interns are gone, you're cleaned up, you're back to a normalcy and trying to, start planning and figuring out how are you going to make next year even bigger and better.
Absolutely. So, again, you're just a couple games back from Duluth for first place in the Great Plains East. So lacrosse is there too, but they already clinched the first half. So
correct.
Would they kind of be out of this equation little bit?
I think so. And Pete maybe might chime in sometime later and tell you he knows more about standings than I do, but it might go into overall record if lacrosse were to be in the lead. I think, and then it would go into overall record.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Okay. So, but right now Well, you got lacrosse coming up here, so you got a couple opportunities against them
Yeah, they're our
anyways. So
kryptonite.
yeah. So
Yeah, we need everyone to come on Sunday. It's a
mhm.
2 for 1. Come for the first game,
That's
stay
right.
for the second game.
That's right. Another doubleheader.
Yep. They're both
Uh,
gonna be 7 innings. First one's gonna start at our normal 2:05 time, and then the second one's gonna start 30 minutes following game 1.
okay.
So,
Yes.
come whether you
Make
wanna
it.
come for the first one or you just wanna come for the second one, just come out to the ballpark.
Let's make it a home field advantage
Yes.
at Carson Park. I mean, I'm not kidding. When those kids are loud,
Mhm.
you adults, you're challenged now
Yes.
because those kids, or bring the kids
Bring the
back.
kids back.
Bring the kids back and let them do those chants
Yes.
that they were doing up in the grandstands and such.
Let's go express for
Yep.
5 minutes straight.
Yes. But the players feed off
Yeah.
that. They loved it.
That's like
So,
one game you can't lose.
right.
You can't lose your day game.
And that was, I mean, a heck of a game too,
Yeah.
on that one. So that was pretty cool. So, well, Sammy, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. And
Absolutely.
again, always remind this. I will say this for tickets to go to those games, go straight to you, Northwoods League
Yep.
or the Express.
Yep.
So,
Whether it's going to northwoodsleague.com/Eau Claire Express or just eauclairexpress.com,
mhm,
hovering over the ticket tab, scrolling down to order tickets online, and then
mhm.
purchasing single game tickets. Do not buy them from a third party. You're going to spend 10 times the amount and your seat may already be taken, or give
Mhm.
us a call at the office. We're
Yep.
happy to help
Yep. And somebody had texted in too. Whiffley Zone is open to everybody.
everybody.
Everybody's over there. So you don't need a special one for
Don't need a
that.
special one, but I highly encourage you to do a birthday party.
Yep. I've done it. Or I shouldn't say I've done it. Hudson's done it, but I was
We
there.
could throw one
So
for you. You got a
a
couple
couple
days
days
coming up.
left. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sunday.
Yeah. The last year in the 30s. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't. So I'm a little nervous, but yeah, it is well. I've said it, afterwards. That is a heck of a deal for the birthday packages over
Yeah.
there. It is one awesome deal. So, well, Sammy, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Enjoy the break
Well,
for a
thank
little
you.
bit as much as you can.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll catch up with you guys again next week.
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll talk with RJ Cardinal. He's coming up in just a few minutes.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask second grade teacher Mr. Torres.
Put me and just one Clorox wipe on a team, we can take on crayon smudges, sticky fingerprints on every surface, sneezes on the door handle, juice box explosion by the sink, snack crumbs, and don't even get me started on the bathroom passes.
Clorox disinfecting wipes, teacher's #1 wipe.
Think about it. Bathroom passes.
Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
Know what the internet is good for?
Funny cat videos?
That too, but I'm thinking research.
Researching funny cat videos?
Know what the internet is bad for?
Civilized discourse?
That too, but I'm thinking researching things where big emotions are involved.
Oh, you're talking about
The big thing. The big question. I'm Nicole Lasker, and before you start your next chapter,
Visit Lasker's.
we've developed the best way to help you find the right one for the right one. We know the questions to ask and the styles she's sure to love.
The sparkly of the sparkliest, and more of them. We make engagement ring shopping easier.
How do we know what she'll love? It's something that comes with almost 100 years of hearing.
Yes.
That's the reason we love what we do. And Laskers wants her to love it just as much as you do.
Wait a second. What if she says no?
Funny cat videos?
Good call. Lasker's. Just a precious stone's throw from Oakwood Mall and online at laskers.com.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, July 17th, with Court & House and Jim Bob's Pizza. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Today is 715 Day, and we're celebrating tonight at the Brewing Project starting at 5 p.m. Food trucks, local vendors, prizes, personalities from Midwest Family Eau Claire. Portion of their 715 shandy will go to local animal shelters as well. So big thanks to presenting sponsor Courtesy Ford and sponsors UW Eau Claire Athletics, Walworth's, 715 Excavating and Auto Family Law, and our good friends Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Smuck saying Leroy Butler should be considered, shouldn't he, for our last 25 years, the best Packers players outside of Rodgers and Favre from 2000 to 2025. I wouldn't. I mean, he only played 2001, and one of our stipulations was played the bulk of their careers in the 2000s, in the prime of their careers in the 2000s, and Leroy was the 90s. So no, I wouldn't put Leroy Butler on there because it was just 2000 and 2001 that he played over there. So we'll switch gears here a little bit and talk some Badgers. Mr. RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. RJ, kind of we got some news. Badger basketball has a general manager now, which is something we've been seeing teams do across the college landscapes. I think mostly for football and basketball, but it's somebody that's been with the program for a while. What can you tell us about the Badger men's basketball new general manager?
Yeah, he's been the director of basketball operations for many years now. So, I mean, essentially, it's the same role, just with the more current title, I think. Unless he gets to hire somebody under him that's going to be taking over director of basketball operations. For the most part, that is kind of dealing with travel and like just helping the coach out directly. So in this day and age, it's hard to know what some GMs do. Like some of them are alumni, that you see, especially in football, that are more figurehead people who, I mean, whatever they're going to do, it's just a job for them to have. This one, I think, probably is going to be more actual basketball operations kind of things. Will taking over player personnel, scouting, all that kind of stuff. It's just judging from things I know when I was in school. That's everything but the player personnel and scouting aspect is what a director of operations does for a sport in college. So I guess it's kind of molding, folding in more stuff, or maybe indeed he is moving up and giving up the director of basketball duties. But I mean, it didn't really explain much what he's going to be doing other than like listing just everything under the sun of what he will be doing as GM.
Yeah. So is it Mark Van der Wettering? Is that how you pronounce his last name? Van der Wettering?
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
I also didn't want to say it, so glad you did.
We'll just say GM Mark. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
GM Mark. So, but I mean, this is as you mentioned, like Andrew Luck's the general manager of Stanford for football. You know, like how much is Andrew Luck going out and with roster management and such? We don't really know, but at least we're seeing this trend, and mostly, would you say, RJ, it's college football and college basketball? We're seeing these teams hire these general managers.
Yeah, and I think that's because it's probably the two most, highlighted sports for college athletics. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see it elsewhere down the line. I mean, we could probably go do a Google search of even probably volleyball here. I don't know if I mean, with the amount of good alumni like the Badgers have, who knows? I mean, there might be a GM for women's volleyball right now, and it just didn't make the news, But yeah, I mean, in terms of Andrew Luck, he was actually involved in firing the old head coach.
Oh, geez.
He put out a statement on behalf of Stanford, thanking the coach for his service, but he has been relieved of his duties, and they're going to be searching for a new head coach. Well, he was kind of taking over the program in the spring while they were doing the search. So that's an odd one, where it is a guy you'd think is a figurehead, but then he's the one who made the statement and was apparently pretty involved in doing an internal review of Stanford's football culture, and was actually an active part of being that. But it's a little weird when maybe the head coach didn't hire him. And yeah, so don't know if we're going to get into that kind of murky water, but that's the first one I've seen where a GM is actually doing something that we see more, I guess, as a pro sports GM.
Yeah.
But other than that, it does seem like, I mean, Matthew McConaughey is the GM at Texas, right? Would you just have Riverboat Ron is now at Cal? I'm trying to think of Ed Reed down at. Actually, I don't think he's even doing that anymore, though. Well, he was at Miami. I think he might be gone, but I could be wrong there. But yeah, you're looking at some of these high-profile ones, and then when you were looking at Wisconsin football, everybody's like, "Well, the clear choice is like one of the Watts, or like J.J. Watt because he's retired now, or Joe Thomas," and then they're like, "It's this guy," and everybody's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But so like with all these new titles, like, I mean, there's also a lot less rules from when I was in school. Like, I mean, unless you were an on-field coach, you couldn't go out recruiting. Now, other people can go make visits, even if they're not an on-field coach. You were limited to 10 assistants. Now you can have the O-line coach and an assistant O-line coach. You could have, so it's turning more into the pro game, even in terms of staff size, where, like, yeah, you had a head coach, 10 assistants, and you could have an offensive graduate assistant, defensive graduate assistant, and then I think near the end of my time, you could add a special teams graduate assistant. So you could have 13 on-field coaches, but then those grad assistants couldn't go out recruiting. I think that has changed where they can now. But it's even been rapidly changing on all levels, and from what we see in NIL to transfer rules to the coaching staffs now. So it's becoming a pretty wide open world of, is this really amateur athletics anymore, even though it hasn't been amateur athletics for a long time. I think it's just coming more to light that it's not.
Right. And there's got to be, when you hear general manager, and such. But it seems like maybe like for this instance with Greg Gard is the main guy. Like he's in charge or he's ahead of the general manager in this case. It feels like.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially, that's I think the Andrew Luck case is something completely different.
Right.
I think in this case, the GM is under the head coach. It's not a guy who's the head of the program. He just takes care of everything where the head coach doesn't have to worry about any off-field stuff in terms of budgets, travel, all that kind of stuff. And I'm probably sure the GM will have an assistant that even he won't have to worry about that stuff.
Right.
Or at least have a staff of people that will help him, which I don't think that's any different from probably what was already going on with him as the director of football operations. So maybe it is a case where everybody kind of moves up the ladder a little bit.
Gotcha. RJ, switching over to football here just a little bit because I saw this earlier this morning. But talking about recruiting and 2026, it looks like Wisconsin is no longer in contention for its top remaining 2026 recruiting target, and that's offensive lineman Kamari Blair. When he listed his finalists back in May, the Badgers are on there, but now it just seems like it's between Tennessee, South Carolina, and Mississippi. How big of a loss is this for Wisconsin?
I mean, you're looking at it, and it really seems he's focusing on the South. I think outside of maybe this coaching staff, a lot of people were surprised Wisconsin was on that list. It is a loss, but also when you're looking at it, you kind of understand it, I guess. But yeah, it's another one of those L's the coaching staff has been taking as of late. When you have pretty much every defensive back you were trying to target pick somewhere else. Now your final target that you're putting like a full court press on, that multiple outlets who are reporting for the Badgers saying this would be a huge get for Wisconsin moving forward to add another, I think he's a 4-star on most of the recruiting sites, to add another 4-star to this class and really end with a bang. And with the class size being what it is, it's not going to be up there in a ranking. I think it's currently in the 50s right now. And it's just, it's one of those, not another good look for recruiting. And people start pointing to, well, maybe if you stayed home and tried to get some of the O linemen from the state of Wisconsin, this kind of stuff wouldn't happen. But I mean, when you have kids who are in that top 10 saying they weren't even really looking at Wisconsin because they suck, that is what it is. And I mean, when he put out that list, I didn't think much of it because I looked at the geographic location of the other ones, and I'm like, well, why would he be coming to Wisconsin? So I wasn't expecting it, but still, it shows up as a big L for the coaching staff again, which they seem to have been taking a lot lately, especially this recruiting cycle. And like we talked, can't remember if it was last week but there are people who left the program and on their exit interviews, with some of the publications that cover the Badgers, specifically cited the coach as the reason they left. Not Fickle, not Tressel, but their position coach. And it's like, wow, like how is this guy still here? And Jack Bicknell Jr. got let go or moved to an off-field position and then let go once Longo was gone. I don't know the loyalty to the cornerback coach, but I mean, it might be time to, maybe not this close to the season and camp starting, but I thought it would have been a move that was made a while ago, especially when, and maybe they don't read the clippings, but I mean, when you had a large chunk of your defensive backs leave, mostly because they didn't want to be behind the guy who dropped out of school, and then also cited the coach as the reason they're leaving. Yeah, it's one of those that also, when we've been people who left after the first year of this coaching staff, said, why do we need to be held accountable if the coaching staff isn't? And this is another example of that. So it's weird, and it just doesn't look good in the optics for anyone to lose another recruiting battle. But then you also look at a bunch of the other L's they took on people that industry recruiting guys thought Wisconsin had a good chance of getting.
So RJ, as we are in the middle of July right now, and we're talking training camp for the Packers beginning next week. I mean, some are already getting set for this week because they got a Hall of Fame game, the big Hall of Fame game on the 31st. And that, what's kind of the timeline right now for Badger football? When do they go to camp and kind of get things really kicked into gear here?
Well, camp will start. I think it's 30 days before your first game.
Okay.
So we're Thursday the 28th. So I guess the week of the 28th they'll report.
Okay.
At least judging by math. So yeah, they'll report down to Platteville. I can't remember if it's 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks. First 2 weeks will be Platteville, then they'll move back to Madison and take care of game prep in like those install 2 weeks before you do your Monday through Wednesday, I guess, game week prep. But yeah, so it's still people are on campus, a lot of voluntary stuff. This time you're still doing all your weightlifting programs and all that kind of stuff. Usually, I don't know if that ended with Squat Fest and they're on their summer now, but I know there were quote unquote voluntary lifts in the summer while I was there. So I assume that's still going on. But yeah, it's kind of a downtime outside of independent film study and lifting. Has nothing to do right now.
Do you know, are they going to be back at Platteville or are they staying down in Madison? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Oh yeah, they're definitely going back to Platteville.
Okay.
I just can't remember if it's 1 week or two. I think it's 2 weeks.
Okay.
And yeah, so they get to go out there, have their remember the Titans kumbaya time to not have any distractions. And then yeah, back to Madison, more along the lines of what practice will be like in season, where, I mean, there'll be guys who are living in their apartments, quote unquote, off campus, but like it's on campus. People living in the dorms, people living at the Regent, and all that. So becomes a little bit of a more responsibility on getting yourself to practice on time rather than somebody blowing an air horn down a hallway, a dorm hallway, and waking you up and making sure you get to where you need to be.
Yeah. Don't you miss some of those days though, RJ, a little bit?
Oh, to go out to the seminary here on the west side of Madison, which, I mean, at the time was in the middle of nowhere, but they started selling a lot of their land. And now there's and all that kind of stuff around it. So it was one of those, you're still near everything, but you're pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, you were in a dormitory type styling, because at one time it was kind of a seminary, high school, holy name seminary. And yeah, so it's perfectly set up to, well, not anymore because it's now apartments, but it was perfectly set up for dorm style. And yeah, it sucked. I mean, there was no AC, so you had to bring like a whole bunch of fans. Like I think me and my roommate in our 2 years we were there had a box fan in the window, 2 box fans like pointing at the beds, and then an oscillating fan at the door.
Man,
just to like keep everything moving, because I mean there were days where, I mean, you couldn't have the windows closed because, I mean, it was musty as heck in there. So you had to have the window open to get fresh air in there. But I mean, there were days it was, I mean, it's, it's Wisconsin in the summer. I mean, you're getting muggy 90-degree days that feel like 100, but you have to suffer through it. And I mean, sometimes you didn't even sleep with a sheet over you on the bed because it was that hot. But yeah, do I miss it? A little bit, but not at all.
Yeah. Let me guess. You probably just missed the camaraderie part of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're like in the middle of nowhere, I mean, yeah, you get to know the players well, especially when you're on-field guy and have a position. I mean, my freshman year was like Rasmus James, Antosh Hawthorne, Jason Jefferson, and Jonathan Welsh were your 4 starters. So I mean that's a pretty good group of guys to get to know over a month. And I mean, a couple of them we still stay in contact and talk to them like every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, you got to know not just players, your own crew, the support staff. I mean, you saw everybody every day, and you just it is a good bonding experience to be somewhere where nobody else has access to.
Absolutely. RJ Cardinal, our Badger guy from Madison. Dude, appreciate the time as always, buddy. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll catch up with you again next week, sir.
Absolutely. Sounds good. We will talk to you then.
You got it. There you go. RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. All right, we got to take our final break. Last call for any picks for the All-Star game. You want to pick one? Go for it. All right. Hit me up with a text. Final break. Then we'll be back to wrap up this little shindig coming up in just a couple minutes. final reminder, today is 715 Day, and why not celebrate 715 Day by heading on over to the Brewing Project at 5 p.m. for some food trucks, some local vendors, some prizes, and helping out the furry friends, our furry friends like pups, cats, and all that, because 20% of the sales for the 715 Shandy at the Brewing Project are going to help support our furry friends, going to the local animal shelters. So big thanks to presenting sponsors courtesy Ford, our other sponsors as well. We've got Blue Marble Pub, UW Athletics, our good friends at Mike's Star Markets, Goss Appliance. We got Peak Wellness with Lisa, 715 Excavating and Demolition. More info, you can find it at around the 715. That's just the numbers, 715.com. Let's wrap up today with some picks. And, well, we've got a Major League Baseball All-Star game to pick here. So I'm going to roll with the American League in tonight's contest. And I'm going to pick, I don't know why I keep going to him, so I'll just pick it. I'm going to go Aaron Judge as the MVP, and I know that's kind of a boring pick, but I'll go Aaron Judge as the game MVP for tonight. So American League wins it. Aaron Judge is the MVP. All right, so busy morning here this morning. We chatted some green and gold, a little bit of green and gold here because, well, we continued our Packers training camp storyline series. Talked a little bit about the quarterbacks with Jordan Love and Malik Willis. We talked a little bit about Rashan Gary because I just kind of wanted to know from all of you, like, how would you describe Rashan Gary as a player? Like, how would you describe him? Because I feel like he is a guy that is, you look at, because the reason we were bringing it up was yesterday he was named the 80th best player in that NFL.com poll as voted on by the players. And you saw some of the stats, like he's really good at pressure rates, especially third down. He's really good at pressure rate. But, where are the sack numbers? Maybe those pressure rates don't match up with the number of sacks. So I just kind of wanted to know from the fan base, how do you view Rashan Gary as a player? How would you describe him as a player? Do you describe him maybe as not complete or inconsistent or I was just kind of curious and had a lot of different answers all across the board. So I appreciate everybody kind of chiming in on that one and giving me your scouting reports on Rashan Gary. It's a good conversation. So appreciate that from everybody. Back to the All-Star game tonight. We'll see Jacob. We'll for sure see Jacob Mizorowski if we, listen to manager Dave Roberts yesterday. Said that by the fifth inning, he's hoping to have him out there. So get ready to see Mizorowski on the national stage going up against the AL All-Stars. Hopefully we'll see Trevor McGill also get his shots out there on the mound at some point. We know Freddie Peralta will not be pitching because he pitched Sunday. Rules say he can't pitch. So, but maybe we'll get a quick glimpse of him. Then across the border, Byron Buxton representing the Twins in this game. Had the home run derby last night. Cal Raleigh getting the win for the home run derby. So the big dumpster continuing to have his powerful season, leading the league in home runs, now getting the home run derby championship. I'll say it. It'll be interesting to see now how his swing, how many home runs he's going to get after the All-Star break. That's always brought up after these home run derbies. Does it change somebody's swing? Does it affect them? I mean, Brewers-wise, we saw it with Jesus Aguilar a little bit when he participated in the home run derby, and we saw how he performed at the quote-unquote second half of the season. Wasn't at the same level. So, but tonight's All-Star game, 7 p.m. So you can tune in and watch that, or just try to see if you will. I'll be tuning in because, well, there's after our baseball practice, but I'll be tuning in. I want to see Mizorowski. I want to see Mizorowski get the national attention, get the national stage. So I want to see him, and I hope, I don't know, I doubt he's going to be, getting in the game early enough to go up against like Aaron Judge or anything like that, but I want I would love to see Mizorowski go up there, 9 pitches, 3 strikes out, 3 strikes out, 3 strikes out, up, down, immaculate inning, boom, bada bing, and let's keep that hype train going for Jacob Mizorowski. I hope we get to see him dominate. I hope he's on tonight. I would imagine the guy's got to be nervous and butterflies, especially with all the talk. Oh, does he deserve to be there or not? Adding that in on the national stage in the All-Star game. I mean, this has got to be one of the most whirlwind weeks of any young person's life, especially a young athlete, to make your major league debut, to go up against Paul Skeens and have it hyped up that much, to go up against the Dodgers and have a fantastic game. And then you got the All-Star game. I mean, these last 5-6 weeks, whatever the heck it's been for him, has got to be some of the most amazing yet crazy 6 weeks of his life or anybody's life. Think about that. Just put that in perspective. To try to imagine that for yourself. Making your major league debut, having all that attention, having those marquee matchups, and now an All-Star game where there's all this talk surrounding whether you should be there or not, or was it too early? Whew. I mean, at one point, he's just going to have to, like, take a deep breath and maybe wake up from this dream, for crying out loud. It's a crazy 5-6 weeks it's been for him. Insane. And I hope he's been able to at least enjoy the experience a little bit and take it all in and such. So, but man, I hope he goes out there and just fans every batter that he goes up against. I hope that's the case. All right, tomorrow we'll do a little stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. You can think about your picks and let us know whose stock's up, whose stock is down. So let us know for that. We'll be at the halfway mark of this week. So we'll continue our Packers training camp storyline. We'll be 1 week from tomorrow. First practice, baby. 1 week from tomorrow. It's going to be here. So All-Star game will be in the books. Then we can kind of take a look at the ceremonial second half of the season for the Brew Crew, get to some more trade rumors, rumblings, all that good stuff, because that's going to be the big hot topic coming up in these next couple weeks or so. Who are the teams that are going to make the moves? Will there be any splash moves? Will the Brewers be one of those teams making any of those moves before the deadline at the end of this month? It's going to be here before you know it. It's going to be here like that. So, all right, DP Danets are up next. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your 715 day. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., same place, same time. See you all then.